Well, hello again. I was having some coffee and some chalky digestives a little while ago, and I thought, let's have a look at the internet. See what absolute twaddle I can find today. And it didn't take very long, of course, because the internet is oozing twaddle, especially when it comes to all this conspiracy theory stuff. There's an awful lot on the internet about this Admiral Byrd and his expedition to Antarctica, and it was cut short. And the Nazis have got a secret base there, and there's Nazi flying saucers in Antarctica, and it's absolute rubbish. All of it is absolute rubbish. I'll tell you what, I'll leave a link below to a documentary about Admiral Byrd's expedition down to Antarctica in 1947. And it is quite interesting. It shows you what they got up to. Seems to be completely devoid of any Nazi flying saucers or alien bases, though. It's quite surprising, really, because there's an awful lot of stuff on the internet telling us that there's alien bases down there, there's an entrance to the hollow earth, and there's Nazi flying saucers. And it's just, I find it very difficult to believe that people can believe such absolute bloody rubbish. So I'll leave a link below, and you can have a look at the documentary that was made about Admiral Byrd's expedition down to the Antarctic in 1947. And I think it was, I don't think this documentary actually says it was cut short, but it may have been cut short. I haven't done an awful lot of research on this. But the ships are getting stuck in the ice and all that sort of stuff, and it's a seriously inhospitable place. You know, it's probably the worst place on Earth you could have a secret base. I mean, you'd have to keep it very well supplied with all sorts of stuff. Where would the power come from? And don't say the Hutchison effect or free energy, because they don't exist. You'd need a nuclear reactor, or you'd need diesel generators to generate the power for it. You'd need to generate quite a lot of heat, because you're going to have to keep everybody warm at your secret Antarctic base. It's just completely ridiculous. And I was watching, I think, a Dark Journalist the other day, and he was talking to this guy that's got a PhD in some sort of obscure nonsense. Nothing useful, of course. And he's saying, oh yes, well, you know, the Pope went down to Antarctica, and you know, this senior politician went down to Antarctica while the election was on. You know, there must be something going on down in Antarctica. Buzz Aldrin's been down to Antarctica. And I think it's just a simple case of quite a lot of people have going to Antarctica on their bucket list. And if they get an opportunity to go, they go. They'll go down there and they'll have a look at the scientific bases or the scientific base that their country runs. And it's as simple as that. I actually thought about doing it myself, because here in Australia, CSIRO has a base down in Antarctica, and they have trouble getting people to go down there for the 1-year contracts, and they start issuing some 6-month contracts. And I actually said to my boss at work, do you mind if I take 6 months unpaid leave, and just for the experience, you know, just go to Antarctica for 6 months? He said, oh no, that's no problem. Technically speaking, you're not supposed to take leave to go and work for somebody else, but I think we can say that that's probably different enough that we could categorise that as a holiday. So I've even thought about it myself. That doesn't mean that I think there's an alien base there. It doesn't mean that I think I'm going to run into any Nazis. Now, if I was on a... the computer's timed out. What a piece of crap. This is a new computer. I'm going to have to change the setting on that so it doesn't time out. Now, if I was Miles Johnson or Simon Parkes, I probably would have said, see, you know, I'm being psychically attacked. Something's going on. They're interfering with my computer. They've turned off my image. When in fact the computer has just timed out. Okay. It always has to be something intriguing, you know. It can't just be as simple. With all these conspiracy people, it can't just be exactly as it appears, you know. It's always got to be something intriguing. And I wasn't going to do a thing on Tompkins, Mr. Tompkins, with these, the aliens giving advanced technology to the Nazis and all this. And even Richard Dolan wouldn't publish his book. And I thought, this is just too ridiculous for words. I'm not going to bother doing a video on this, but I might do, actually. I might do. But certainly when it comes to Antarctica, do not believe anything you see on the internet about Antarctica having alien bases, Nazi flying saucers, any of that sort of stuff. It's absolute rubbish. And when I was watching The Dark Journalist the other day with that guy on there with the PhD in, I don't know, origami or whatever it was, he was saying that he looks at the research of others. And so he's reading a lot of old twaddle written by some other fantasists, and he's repeating it. He's saying, oh, yeah, that sounds plausible to me. Nazi flying saucers, sign me up for that one. And he's repeating it as though he believes they're telling the truth. So how gullible would you have to be to even consider that may be true? That the Nazis had flying saucers and that they put a base down in the Antarctica, on Antarctica. So take a look at the link anyway to the video, the documentary. You can see how inhospitable the place is. Remember, there's only 3 months of daylight there, and the rest of the other 9 months of the year it's in darkness. And think about the temperatures and what the weather's like, and just think how difficult it would be to maintain any kind of base in Antarctica. All right, well, that's just my 2 bobs worth on the absolute rubbish you hear about Antarctica and what is hidden there. And I'll catch you next time.